Hello, this is Grandmaster Ron Stone, joining you for another one of our martial arts podcasts. And I do want to say thank you for joining and listening. We have had some questions about the organizations that I mentioned, and you should consider joining them, not only for the information and education you can get and seminars, but also for the camaraderie. Excuse me, those two are the USA Hapkido Union and, of course, the Korean Martial Arts Instructors Association. And the websites for those are the usahapkidounion.org. Again, usahapkidounion.org. And the other is the kmaia.org. Again, kmaia.org. So please join those organizations. I think you'll find it well worth your time. The subject for today that I want to talk about is a personal story about my family. At the same time, it talks about the concept of empathy among instructors. Now, anybody in the Korean arts who gets to pre-black has done some teaching, whether the grandmaster of the school has used you for filling in his absence, whether or not you're an assistant instructor. But in order to get to black belt level, you have to do some instruction. And the more you do it correctly and the more you love it, the better off you're going to be. Well, years ago, my eldest daughter was 8 years old. She was a junior black belt by that time, at 8. And my younger daughter was she's a couple years younger than her, and my youngest daughter was a yellow belt in Taekwondo. But we had to move out of Miami. We moved up to a small town that did not have a Taekwondo school. It did have a Tang Sudo school. And so we enrolled them in Tang Sudo, being a Korean art and being very close to what they had studied. But they had different forms, different style. So we joined. Looked like a good place to be. The instructor was supposedly a fifth dan, seemed to know what he was doing. And the older daughter went right in, and since she was wearing a black belt and she outranked nearly all of the students in the school, nobody said anything. But when my younger daughter got on the mat as a yellow belt, the first thing that this instructor did was tell all the other colored belts, this little girl here is in a different style. She hasn't studied our style. She's in Taekwondo, as if that was a derogatory thing to say. And then he got her alone on the mat in front of the class and said, now, honey, I want you to do your forms. Show us your forms. Now, I had already explained to him that we had moved, and during the course of the move, it took a couple of months to close the house, sell the house, move, get a new house, get started on a new place, and that my daughters had not actually trained other than exercising or whatever. They hadn't actually been in a formal school for several months. And as if it went in one ear, not the other, he basically put my younger daughter, imagine this, she's 6 years old, puts her in front of a whole bunch of strange kids and tells them that she's not educated in their style, but wants her to show off and do her forms, which she has not practiced for a couple of months. And it was like those horrible movies where a kid has to give a speech or do a piano recital in front of an audience and forgets it or whatever. She just froze. And instead of being showing empathy, this instructor kept insisting, I'll go ahead, you can do this, and you got a yellow belt on, and blah, blah, blah. And I was ready to come out of the parental waiting area and just kill this guy. And my daughter basically broke into tears and ran off the mat into my arms and gave up the martial arts for good. No matter what I did, I couldn't get her back into training. And at the time, she was actually had more potential, I think, than her older sister. She was physically more flexible, more fit, but that just ruined it. And what you need to understand is that when you're an instructor, you got to put your own ego away, and you have to understand your students, their emotional level, their educational level, And you can't just assume that I'm up here as an instructor, so I'm God and I can do whatever I will, bloody well please. So he ended up losing the whole family. We left, we found another school, and it was a night and day difference in how the kids were treated. We actually looked for a school and discovered Grandmaster Richard Hackworth's school, and my older daughter and I went into his school, and Andrea ended up getting a black belt not only in Taekwondo, or junior black belt, but she later got a junior black belt in Tang Sudo, and then a junior black belt and eventually a senior black belt in Hapkido. But it was a whole different learning experience. I just wish that my younger daughter could have experienced that kind of education. So I'd encourage any of you who are black belts or going to be black belts or grandmasters or masters to take instructional courses that include curriculum and courses on how not only to prepare your classes but to teach. And I'm not talking about going to a seminar where they just show you a technique and leave. I'm talking about master and grandmaster level instructional courses, which are available from the kmaia.org and the USA Hapkido Union.org. So thank you for that. I remember the experience with horror. Imagine watching your own child go through that. And I don't want that happening to anybody else's kid. So thank you, and thanks for listening to my ramblings, and hope to talk to you soon.